we'll see how it goes in the next few
Yo,
weeks.
what up, everybody? Fantasy Exec, Johnny V TV, your new favorite show. Let's get this money. The Executive Network is now brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Hit the link in the comment section for a 100% deposit match, courtesy of the Executive Network and Underdog Fantasy. Win with the Executive Network and Underdog Fantasy this NFL season. It's your boy Corey Parson, the Fantasy Executive, the Italian Stallion, JVTV, aka Johnny V. It's still some controversy. I'm 100% certain that I was the one that gave you the nickname JVTV.
Listen, you were definitely among the first, but I've that was a thing before I think we even met, but you kind of made it a little bit more popular just because like the Johnny V TV thing started for me when I was in college, probably like 2016, I would say, when I first really like started dabbling in making Instagram videos and things like that. And then, people kind of talked about JVTV, but you definitely made it a little bit more popular, I will say.
All right, and you're going to making you more popular, too. All the homies back in Harlem, you know what I'm saying? They like, yo, what's up with your man with the axe on the dresser? You know what I'm saying? You are becoming a fan favorite, Mr. TV.
Yo, I hope so, bro. I mean, how many Italian stallions you got in this world? Not many, bro. It's me and Rocky Balboa. And
yeah, it's only two that I really know of, you know what I'm saying? You said before we get into the program, I don't have no time for no baseball. Right, but we're going to give Johnny V a little chance to give Ronald Acuna a shout out, and then we got to get to this week's action.
Yeah, as you said, man, I know we're a football program here, but we got to give a quick shout out. Ronald Acuna Jr., first 40-40 home run season since 2006 when Alfonso Soriano did it with the Washington Nationals. And Acuna came close a few years ago when I think he ended up with 39 home runs and 41 steals, which is like right there. But not only did Acuna become the fifth player to go 40-40 in MLB history, but he's the only player to go 40-50, 40-60, and he's 2 steals away from 40-70. Truly one of the great MLB talents we've ever seen play the game, and so young. Quick shout out. This guy's going to continue to have one of the best careers of all time in Major League Baseball.
All right, there you go right there. You heard it right there from my man JVTV. Let's get ready to get into today's topic at hand. It is the NFL. It is getting some money, making bets against the spread. My man Johnny V TV is in the Circa Millions contest. He's got 3 entries in the contest. You know what I'm saying? I got a contest I'm in. I'm just giving you we were going through handicapping every game, and we're going to give you our favorite bets. You know what I'm saying? You can tell us. You can make some money because we're not going to be whack. You know what I'm saying? We're going to get the job done. JVTV, you ready to roll?
Always, baby, always.
All right, let's start with one of the more fascinating matchups of the week, the Los Angeles Chargers and the Minnesota Vikings. Right now, we got ones across the board with the Vikings laying it. FanDuel went up a little bit too, the Vikings laying 1.5. So we got the Chargers who lose every game by a field goal and the Minnesota Vikings when you never really know what you're going to get.
Yeah, I mean, we touched about on this briefly last night. I think the side is I'm going to go with the Chargers. And the reason is it comes down to something so simple. Coming into the year, I had something of high hopes for the Chargers, playoffs, maybe a deep run, depending on, if things broke their way. But I kind of knew the Minnesota Vikings were in for a regression this year. Winning 11 one-score games the year before, losing a couple key pieces, just more age coming along on this team. You just knew it was bound to happen, even in an easier conference. So starting 0-3 is really brutal for that. And I got to give the edge to Justin Herbert and the Chargers.
I'm going to go with Herbie and the Chargers too in this one, right, JVTV? If you look at the team's metrics, they're actually playing great football. They just keep losing games. The problem is that head coach don't know what he's doing. But in this situation, I'm going to back the Chargers on this one as well. You don't really take the money line, whatever the case may be. It is not going to make any official plays for me. I think the game is a pick 'em contest straight up. It's not going to be an official play. If you do want to go with this one to the window, or you want to take this one and put it in the parlay, both of us are behind the Los Angeles Chargers, correct?
And the over to me is probably the thing I like the most. I feel like
I agree.
53.5 is fair. I could see some late action Sunday morning tick towards 54. But I feel like at the end of the day, the amount of points scored is going to end up being very close to, if not over 60.
All right, JV, in our Thursday night live show, which you need to be a part of as well, every Thursday night at 6 p.m. Eastern time, me and Johnny go live and get the conversation started for Thursday night football and begin to look at some line movement, get you ready for the weekend in your fantasy, whatever you like to do to get money with these sports contests. We got you covered on Thursday night. Make sure you're a part of that program right there. We talked about this Titans and the Browns game. Right now, let me go to the live odds screen, make sure that we have the up-to-date numbers. Seeing 3.5s across the board right here with the Cleveland Browns laying it. JV, my thing is this. Like, okay, it's two things with this contest. Number one, Mike Vrabel is an excellent head coach, right? Despite the team being trash, right? The defensive line is stout. We talk about that all the time. And the Titans are just a wagon against the spread. Give me the 3.5 with the Tennessee Titans. I'm taking it to the window. I know the back end of that defense is suspect, but can Deshaun Watson take advantage of it? I think not.
Yeah, I mean, we're lockstep. Talked about this yesterday. I just don't see how Deshaun Watson and the Browns should be laying 3.5 against anybody, let alone being a favorite. You know, Nick Chubb, I mean, prayers up. That's our guy, man. We're big fans of Nick Chubb, and it's just brutal to see. But, you know, you still got to play a football game. And the drop-off between Nick Chubb and Jerome Ford, and, yeah, you bring Kareem Hunt back in the fold. That guy's not in game shape. Like, yeah, he knows a playbook, but he's not in football shape at all. You got Amari Cooper. He's a dog. And Njoku's a dog, rep North Jersey. But Deshaun Watson has not looked like a competent
Deshaun Watson's a DOG dog. When we say somebody's a dog, they can either be a DAWG dog. That's a good dog. That's a rah, 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 I'll bite your ass dog. Deshaun Watson right now playing like a DOG dog. That's a, hey, get out my house. It's a difference, Johnny.
That is. I just don't see it, man. Like you said it yesterday, the Titans secondary is a little sus. If he can't do it against this Titan secondary, we have a lot to question. But you know who is there? The Alabama slammer, the king, Derrick Henry. And I think he's going to have success. I mean, I don't know how efficient he's going to be.
That Titans, let me tell you something, that Browns defensive line is no joke now.
I agree. But at the end of the day, bro, like if you give Henry 25 carries, this game is close in the fourth quarter, I'm always going to take Henry, bro. That defense wears down. And I just think the Titans find a way not only to cover this 3.5, I would probably take them on the money line as well. But you're giving me over a field goal against Deshaun Watson. It's a no-brainer every time until we see otherwise.
I'm pretty sure that line is going to be 3 straight up. I might not even be surprised if it's 2.5 come Sunday morning. All right, so get involved with that. All right, for the first time today, it is time to go over to our Odds Jam live screen. You want to get involved with a live screen like this? Go ahead and hit that link in the description. All right, Johnny, what we see right here on the live odds, this next game, the Houston Texans and Jacksonville Jaguars, we got an 8. We got an 8.5. Circa's going to 7.5. DraftKings at 8. FanDuel, you can still get the 8.5. Bet 365 at 8. So a lot of different lines out here for this one right here. A lot of people high on the Texans coming into this game. Johnny V, this is not going to make no tickets for me. What's your thoughts on it, though?
Yeah, Circa's, as you see, is a 7.5 right now. But you know what they gave out on the contest for the week?
I was curious of that. What's the
9
contest?
9.
Oh, that's a stale number then.
So, you know, it doesn't always matter, though, because, like, we saw this happen last week, and it didn't end up mattering. Like, look at the Buffalo Bills, for instance, against the Las Vegas Raiders. But for me, I think Jacksonville is still the side I will go with because they were at home. And, yes, they played Kansas City, but their offense did not look good, dude. Like, the Chiefs, you're supposed to be able to at least move the ball on and put up some points. They only scored 9 points at home in a big litmus test early in the season. They were supposed to have the advantage in Florida with the humidity and the heat and Kansas City not looking sharp. And I think they take their frustrations out on the Texans. CJ Stroud's been a little bit banged up. There's a lot of injuries on the Texans' offensive line. Their corner, Derek Stingley's going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks. There's a lot of injuries Houston is dealing with right now. In Jacksonville, in a big bounce-back week, to take control of the division, I think Jacksonville needs to show up and lay down the hammer, kind of the way we saw with Buffalo last week. So I think Jacksonville might make my Circa pick this week in one of my entries. And to tell you the truth, I might put Jacksonville as my survivor.
Ooh, Are you sure
Maybe.
you want to go this deep with the Jacksonville Jaguars in the division game?
No, that's why I haven't made my foregone conclusion yet. I've narrowed it down to a few teams. Don't forget, I'm trying to play the game here. I spent the
Understood.
afternoon. I spent the afternoon kind of mapping out who I would take where all the way through like week 14, just to give myself an
Okay.
idea. And what I came up with,
I think that's a good strategy, Johnny, to be 100% honest with you. I do think that's a good strategy.
it's hard. I mean, really, the teams I came out with this week was the Ravens, Jags, and Chiefs. And the Chiefs are probably the safest bet against the Bears, but then like the Chiefs were a team that I might want to use next week. But if I use the Chiefs this week, then the only other team that I really thought was a solid play was the Rams. And this is the pitfalls of a Survivor contest.
That is 100% the pitfalls if you got to go with the Rams. You know what I'm saying? Because they've played nice to start the season, but that's a tough call right there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's get some AFC East action. New England Patriots and the New York Jets. Patriots in one of the spots that I hate to bet the most. They are a short road favorite. Not an ideal spot, taking a short road favorite. Patriots coming in here laying less than a field goal against the Jets. Listen, these two teams battled last year, and no Aaron Rodgers was there last year either. The Patriots, listen, I was a big Mac Jones supporter. Now, Mac Jones don't make no plays. He's got to do a better job. Right now, he's a fade for me. But in this spot right here, I think Belichick versus the young quarterback favors Belichick. I'm laying a 2.5 with the Patriots, Johnny, even though it's against what I normally like to do. And guess what? I'm going to take this one to the window.
So you know how this thing of like take the small, lay the big?
Yeah.
There are exceptions to the rule.
The Jets are one of them.
There are exceptions to the rule. To be honest, bro, I'm not feeling it for the Jets. And my dad's like, oh, Jets plus 2.5 at home. And like, he loves this whole idea of like, you take the home team getting 2 or 2.5, especially in a division rival. But I mean, bro, if we're being honest, New England has dominated the Jets and Zach Wilson in the last couple of seasons. I mean, this is what we're working with, right? The last game, 10-3 in favor of the Patriots. 22-17, 54-13, 25-6, 28-14. The closest game was 2020, 30-27. Obviously, Tom Brady was not the quarterback there either. So I think given the circumstance, Belichick to not go 0-3, if they go 0-3, they're done in the AFC. This is like fight or flight for New England, and they have the matchup advantage against the Jets. And I know New York is well aware of the 14-game losing streak, but at the end of the day, I think New England is – I'm going to go to bat with them one more time. They hosed this last week, but I think I'm going to give them one more chance before I start writing them off as a team that I bet.
So you're taking this one to the window. This is a play for you.
This is a circa play for me.
Okay.
But I'll tell you what.
When I say take it to the window, I mean, are you going to? Yeah, is it official play?
I might put this out as a half unit play officially on my card at 2.5. I mean, very rarely do games finish inside of 3. It does happen, but I think 2.5 is definitely a fair number here. Keep this inside of 3, and let's get this home one time for the battle between the young Republican and the future business leader of America.
And there you go, right there. That's the contest that we have with the Pats and the New York Jets.
Yo, doesn't it look like that though? Doesn't it look like that?
I think you nailed it with that, with your analysis right there. All right, let's go to the NFC. Interesting contest right here in the National Football Conference. We have the Green Bay Packers, Jordan Love, home opener. They welcome in the 2-0 New Orleans Saints in this one. Take a look at the odds. This one's been jumping all over the place. Got 1.5s out there. Circa's already down to 1. DraftKings down to 1, but you still got 1.5 at BetMGM, Barstool, and FanDuel. I don't know where to start, Johnny. I'll let you attack this one first.
To be honest, bro, no play for me. I mean, New Orleans has a legit defense. We know that. That's no surprise. Is Green Bay going to have Aaron Jones back? Is Green Bay going to have Christian Watson back? Derek Carr, is he going to look like he's picked up a football before? I don't know these answers. It's like there's too much unknown for me. That's why I want nothing to do with this game. Like I don't see much of an edge just because, first of all, I don't know who's playing. I find it hard right now to go to war with Derek Carr. And like Jordan Love and the Packers have looked competent for the last 2 weeks.
Even Jones is expected to be out again this week. Watson is expected to be out again this week. Yeah. But
Aaron Jones is definitely not playing?
He's definitely not playing. I'm not going to say that. He's expected to be out again this week. I don't believe he's practiced at all this week. Yeah, don't believe Aaron Jones has practiced all this week.
Let me double check this. Hold on.
Go ahead and double check that. I don't believe Aaron Jones has practiced this week. A.J. Dillon cannot run the ball competently, if you ask me. But they're getting it done with the backups. The kid Jalen Reed is doing it. The young tight end is doing it. Jordan Love is getting it done. If I had to go with a side on this one, I may throw the Green Bay Packers. But listen, I may throw something on the Green Bay Packers money line. But a half unit play, nothing official from me, JVTV. I just like the way this Packer team looks right now. I'm a Jordan Love supporter, and I think the Saints have beat up on two of the lower rung teams in the NFL.
Yeah, I can't.
Lower rung offenses. You're nothing, period.
I'm completely off this game. I want nothing to do with it.
I can't blame you for that one right there. Here's an interesting one, Frank. I'm about to call you Frankie. Why was I getting ready to call you Frankie? Your name is Johnny.
I don't know.
That's interesting. My bad. I apologize, Johnny. Denver Broncos, Miami Dolphins. Broncos take that dumpster fire across the country into South Florida. Dolphins laying 6.5 at home. We got 6.5 across the board right here, Johnny. Give me the Miami Dolphins, and I'm taking it to the window.
Yeah, I'm taking Miami with you. South Florida heat, humidity, Russell Wilson and the crew traveling from west to east. Not that it even really matters, but like Russell Wilson sucks, dude. He's not good. We got to stop pretending like this guy is Mr. Unlimited.
I don't even think nobody's pretending about it anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Like,
this guy.
No, I know, but we pretended at one point he was good. Like, let's pump the brakes here.
At one point he was a good quarterback, Super Bowl champion quarterback, but it's not there no more.
Yeah, it's not there no more. Tua looks great. He's running this offense just tremendously. Mike McDaniel is really taking a page right out of Kyle Shanahan's book. You influence and implement an elite offensive system where it doesn't necessarily matter who's running point on it. It's just the system, kind of like a Belichick defense, right? And Tua is executing it to a T. He's got elite playmakers like Tyreek Hill, the Cheetah, T. Hilly, Jalen Waddle, the Penguin, Raheem Mostert. I just think there's too many weapons. And Denver does have a good defense, but it hasn't played up to par. Surtain is a dog, bro. Surtain is one of the best corners in football, no question. So, maybe we see some fireworks between him and Hill. But if Jalen Waddle's playing, especially, it's just – I like it that much more, man. It's inside 7 points, and I realize this is a big number, but Miami, we've bet against them 2 weeks in a row. Time to get on the winning side.
Yes,
time to get on the winning side, kid.
You are correct about that, Johnny. I do not want to lose to the Miami Dolphins any longer. Hey, what I will say though is this: are you considering the Dolphins for Survivor?
You know what? I am. Dolphins is definitely a team that I was looking at, but they might be one I want to save. I like them possibly in week 6. I didn't really put too much thought in playing Miami this week because I feel like as Miami gets greater throughout the year, assuming everybody stays healthy, this is a team that could potentially be playing for a 1 or a 2 seed. And there's opportunities later in the year for them to look good for me. And I want to save a couple big dogs for later in the season.
All right. So then go right there. I can get that. I can get down with that one right there. Let's go back to the screen. Next game right here. Here's one I really find interesting. Maybe my favorite line of the week. Buffalo Bills going on the road to the Washington Commanders. Commanders 2-0, catching 6.5 at home. Right now, we see 6.5s across the board, except for at Circa. Circa's at 6. I have seen a 5.5 pop at one point today. Johnny, this is a fascinating one right here, but I'll be honest with you, I may get burnt, but I'm taking the Washington Commanders to the window, getting 6.5. Make that official.
Salute. You know what? It's funny because I think I was on Twitter today and I saw a tweet. Apparently, some guy in Atlantic City put like $100,000 on Washington plus 6.5. I want to say maybe it was the money line, but it might have been 6.5. I don't remember exactly, but It seems like the Commanders are a very trendy underdog this week.
Ooh, that trendy dog. That's my thing, Johnny. You right there, a trendy dog. And I normally fade trendy dogs. Am I missing something?
It might not be trendy. It might be under the radar trendy dog, if that makes any sense. I haven't been hearing about people all over the internet trying to.
I'm about to
Washington.
check some splits right now and go to our splits page. Go ahead.
I actually, in my millions entry that I'm trying to lose.
According to DraftKings Sportsbook, only 30% of the tickets backing the Commanders.
Okay,
so that was not a trendy.
What's the money though? How much handle?
The handle is 31.38, so it's sharp money on the Commanders. The tickets is 31 for the Commanders. The handle for the Commanders is 38. The tickets for the Bills is 69. The handle is 62.
Yeah, I mean, listen, that would indicate it, but as we've seen, the sharp money doesn't always mean the thing. You know what I mean? Like it does
not at all.
Exactly. So that doesn't always mean
the public has won pretty big a couple
times.
The
public's been doing pretty good. But I mean, for me, in my circle one that I'm trying to lose, my million entry that I'm shooting for the booby prize, I pick Washington because I probably would side with Buffalo. The one caveat in this game, there's supposedly a hurricane coming up the East Coast. And it could affect games like Baltimore. It can affect games like Pats versus Jets. It could affect games like this one. So that's the one caveat. Now, if we're being forced to get thrown into a hurricane game, I mean, the best bet is probably looking at the under. But otherwise, I think Buffalo, in my opinion, is a team that should continue what they did last week. And I recognize Washington's got a defense that can force Josh Allen to mistakes. So that's the way they can win. But I just think for me, the Bills is probably the way I'm going to go here.
All right. Here's a real interesting contest right here, Johnny V. Atlanta Falcons going to Detroit to take on the Lions. This is a game that a lot of people like this week. This one opened up with the Falcons getting 4.5 right underneath that Royal Mint. It was Royal Mint tea. Number down to 3.5. Now it's going through the 3.5. See, 3 is across the board. I'm taking the 3 with the Falcons and sprinkle the money line, making an official play.
Same. Atlanta, we got hosed last week for the Circa pool because they were -1 against the Packers and Koo missed the extra point. But I'm going to give them a chance to redeem themselves this week. I like what Atlanta's doing. I don't know how sustainable it is in the long term, but I'm going to give them a shot in Detroit. Shorthanded again. Taylor Decker is out. David Montgomery's probably out. I think it's going to be higher scoring though. I'm looking forward. This is one of my favorite matchups of week 3. I think Atlanta wins this one outright, and I'm jealous that Circa didn't give us the 3.5 for the pool, but I think 3 is going to be plenty because Atlanta is going to win this one outright. But I have a quick question for you.
Go ahead, sure.
Do you think Bijan Robinson's got a legit case and a path to win Offensive Player of the Year this year?
He's getting a lot of touches, and that's one thing that really going to need to be Offensive Player of the Year is that touches. But Tyreek Hill and Justin Jefferson, they go crazy every week. I think Bijan is a good bet for Offensive Rookie of the Year. As far as Offensive Player of the Year, I wouldn't mind looking at those odds and taking a sprinkle on it. But I don't
30 to 1.
At 30 to 1, at 30 to 1, I'd put $50 on it.
That's what I did today. I was listening to a couple of our boys, our former colleagues, and I don't necessarily think he's going to win. I think there's a multitude of factors. I think he could potentially be there at the end if he has a big season, but it's just the talent that he's got to deal with is very difficult. It's very difficult. And the running back position alone, if McCaffrey plays a full season.
Yeah, I didn't even mention McCaffrey. You're right about that.
McCaffrey's going for 2,000 yards and probably 15 plus touchdowns if he plays a full 17. So I mean, I'm with you there. That was the one thing I have, but I'm like, you know what? Things happen. Let me sprinkle a little Bijan in case I'm wrong. I'm a Falcons fan. I root for Bijan, all that good stuff.
All right, let's go back to that Mid-Atlantic area where there could be a weather situation this week. You mentioned that earlier. Hurricane-like conditions, bad rain could affect the Commanders game, could affect the Ravens game. The Ravens welcome in CJ Stroud. The Ravens welcome in a Anthony Richardson-less Indianapolis Colts, old school AFC battle right here. Colts versus Ravens, really the Mayflower Bowl. Got 8.5 across the board. Do see an 8 at Bet365. Got an 8 at DraftKings, an 8 at Circa. BetMGM and FanDuel still laying the number with 8.5 with the Baltimore Ravens. Man, I don't like Baltimore as a home favorite on the spread. No play for me.
I'm actually riding with the Ravens this week. The Ravens are in my big circuit contest. They're my top entry. The Ravens -8 is in there. The Ravens are also a team that is weighing on my mind as a potential survivor pick.
I think that's a good survivor pick right there.
Originally, and the only reason why I might not pick the Ravens is because there's a possibility that I might want to try and save them for like week 8 against the Cardinals, but I got to figure that out over the next like 12 hours. Anyway, I think had Anthony Richardson been suiting up for this one, it might be a little bit different, but the Colts are dealing with a bad injury bug at their quarterback position. Gardner Minshew, I don't trust. The run game isn't that good, and it's hard to run the ball against Baltimore. I realize the Ravens have a lot of injuries in their own regard, but I don't see a way where Indianapolis is going to really compete for 4 quarters. The only possible way is if Gardner Minshew looks good, because these receivers can get open against the secondary. That's the only possible way. But I think Baltimore moves to 3-0, takes care of business, take the small, lay the big. Baltimore wins by double digits.
All right, here we go. Let's get ready for our first 4 p.m. Eastern time start. And we go to the Pacific Northwest, where the Seattle Seahawks are hosting the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young inactive for Carolina. Got 5s and 5.5s out there. JVTV. Oh man, this is listen. I can't get behind Andy Dalton. This is a Royal Mint spot right here. But man, it's Andy Dalton on the other side of the Royal Mint. I got to pass, Johnny.
It doesn't matter. I'm taking the Royal Mint, baby. Always. The only time I told you, the only time I play the system. I don't care what players are in. I play the system. That is the whole point of the Royal Mint. Because when you know you're always going to play this line in this spot, it takes thinking out of the equation on who's the quarterback, who's this, who's that. The only time where you really factor that in was when I mentioned last year, when the Colts sent a rookie quarterback to New England, which we know Belichick, that Belichick versus rookie QBs trend is stronger than the Royal Mint. But this is the Royal Mint, though. I'm going with Andy Dalton. Here's how much people actually believe in Dalton. This line was 6.5. And then when Bryce Young got ruled out, money came back in on Carolina at 5.5. And it's pretty much 5.5s across the board. Furthermore, Seattle is dealing with a slew of injuries. Tariq Woolen is probably not going to play. Will Dissly, the tight end, is probably not going to play. Papa DK looks like he might struggle to get on the field. Jamal Adams is questionable. There's so much injuries on the offensive line. I think this sets up for Carolina to keep this one close, because this is one where everybody expects Seattle to blow them out.
I don't think Carolina's problem is Bryce Young. I think Carolina's problem is the head coach. They're not scheming the offense well. If you know the offensive line can't block for the kid, why are you sending 5 out in the route? I don't think that makes any sense. Now, is they going to get smarter with Andy Dalton? I don't think so. And I think he's less of a quarterback, but I'm not going to disrespect the Royal Mint. I'm going to let it sit, and I'm not going to touch this one. I probably will get some Tyler Lockett and some Ken Walker in DFS contest, though.
You know what my favorite part about this is?
What's that?
For better or worse, you get a certain number for Circa, and the number we got this week was Panthers plus 6.5.
You like that even better.
So I got to take that. And listen, Andy Dalton he was never a big time quarterback, but this is a veteran QB that understands his role on a football team at this stage of his career. And Seattle's dealing with injuries across the board, and I feel like he can keep this one close. And guess what, dude? The Panthers got a goddamn good defense. And I think they can make Geno Smith pay. The injuries on the offensive line, which I think is like 60% of their line's probably going to be out. Dude, Carolina's D, they can make some plays and keep this one close for sure.
All right, let's go to Arizona, where the Dallas Cowboys will be playing in their home away from home. If I'm not mistaken, this game is in Arizona, right? Yeah, this is going to be a big Dallas Cowboys spot. Cowboys up to 13 at some spots. It's going to be 13. We're starting to see some 13s pop. Dallas laying 13 on the road versus the Arizona Cardinals. But guess what? How about them Cowboys? I'm taking it to the window, Johnny.
Yeah, I think I am too. Let's be honest, though. I think out of all the big spreads, and by the way, not all of the big spreads are going to come home. There's going to be one team that covers.
They have been pretty good. They're hitting at close to 60% this
so far
year over a touchdown. Yes, they've been good
think
this
about
year,
it.
early.
You have the Niners, you have the Chiefs, you have the Jaguars, you have the Ravens. One of these teams is not going to cover a big spread. And, the Chiefs and the Cowboys are the only two double digits left. The Niners already took care of business. So I feel like one of them might not cover. Dallas, in my opinion, would be the one that doesn't, because Arizona is a feisty bunch. I mentioned it last week. Like,
they're a feisty bunch against the Giants.
I get it. Listen, they have a good roster, though. It's not a contending roster, but it's a competitive roster. Ultimately, Dallas minus 12 and a half makes my circle card on one of my entries this week. So I feel like the way the Cowboys have been rolling, they're going to continue that against Arizona. But don't be surprised if Zona puts up a fight, at least in the first half. I think they have a really bad taste in their mouths about blowing that huge lead against New York last week. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys. But if I had to pick between this game and the Chiefs for the big spread to not be covered, I would say Dallas doesn't cover it.
All right, let's get into that one right now. Then Bears versus Chiefs. Chiefs at home versus a struggling Justin Fields. Chiefs, Kansas City, laying 12 and a half at home. Kansas City has not really been great ATS at home, and not really great with these big numbers either. To be 100% honest with you, JV, but I'm going to lay the big. I'm going to lay the big one this one right here, because Justin Fields looks terrible, number one, and that Chiefs defense has been the backbone of that unit this year. I'm going with Kansas City.
Yeah, me too. That's in the Kansas City minus 13, sort of 13 on Circa is my top entry pick, because I think Kansas City, as you mentioned, they have not been playing anything close that resembles their best football, but their defense has played really well. And we saw last week, Justin Fields did not look good. He was not good at all. And I don't think it's necessarily all on him. I think a lot of it has to do with the coaching. I think Matty Eberflus, being a defensive-minded guy, has not caught up to what Justin Fields needs in order to be successful.
Justin Fields needs to be better to be successful. It's not on him. It's not on the coaches. It's on him.
I agree, but they have not been putting him in a position to succeed with offensive schemes and stuff. They've kind of tried to get him to play more structured, which it doesn't always work. A guy like that needs to have the ability to operate, off script. But nevertheless, they're dealing with so many things off the field. Their defensive coordinator up and quit. There's rumors that the FBI raided his house.
Yeah.
The facility just got $100,000 worth of equipment stolen. This organization's in shambles. I think Kansas City runs away with this one. Not only would I lay the 13, but I'd probably look at laying an alternate minus 17 and a half kind of spread, because I think the Chiefs need a get right spot mentally to not only win, but win convincingly, to feel good and start getting themselves going. And I think this is the perfect spot for them.
Yeah, no, I am. Yes, it's a lot going on. I think the Chiefs handle these dudes pretty easily. I don't think they're going to get much offense generated. So I'm going to lay. And like I said, normally Kansas City is not a great home favorite in the Mahomes era, because the price is normally the price is normally jacked up. They're overvalued. But I just can't get behind the Chicago Bears right now. This is a horrible looking situation in Chicago. So either Kansas City or no bet, and I'm willing to take the Chiefs to the window. Final game on Sunday. Let us go to football night in America. I've been waiting all day for Sunday night. Old school AFC battle. The Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Raiders. Not the Oakland Raiders, but the Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders laying 2.5 at home. Man, Johnny, I'm like, oh, this is a tough one right here. It's a pick'em game. Raiders laying less than a field goal at home. No play for the fantasy executive. I'm sorry. I'm just going to sit back and watch this one, Johnny.
Yeah, no play either. Two bad teams that I really don't want anything to do with. I mean, this is probably more of a This is more of a player prop kind of thing.
I
You
agree.
know what I'm saying? Like maybe we look at George Pickens or maybe Max Crosby sack. Like I don't really see much value in either game. Two bad teams that honestly should not even be playing on Sunday night. But it's probably $500 just to get in for this game in Vegas.
Well, it's going to be lit. The way the Steeler fans travel too. Them Steeler fans is out there in Las Vegas with them terrible towels. They having a good time this weekend. When the Falcons go to Vegas, you going to go out there, JV?
Nah. Bro, you know what, man? Like, in my opinion, unless it's a big game, like a playoff game, like when I flew down to Atlanta when they played the Packers, the last game of the Georgia Dome, like to me, it's only fun if you have a group and you could tailgate. Because, like, in order to see the game, it's way better on TV and it's so much cheaper. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't enjoy going to football games.
Was that you went to?
When they blew out Green Bay in the NFC Championship game. I've went several times. Honestly, you know what? I tweeted at the Falcons years ago to maybe have them incentivize me coming down all the time. Every game I went to in Atlanta in person, the Falcons won. They beat the Packers. They beat the Eagles in that Sunday night game when Julio took a fourth and 3 screen to the crib. They beat the Giants on Monday Night Football when I went down there for my 25th birthday. Like, they're 3-0 when I go down to Atlanta. So, if Arthur Blank ever wanted to keep this gravy train rolling, he's got to get Johnny V TV in the building in a nice box with the food and the booze and everything. That's what I need. That's what I require for accommodations to have Atlanta bless them with that good juju to keep that gravy train going and the wins keep coming.
Shirtless Johnny V laying down the law right here. Big bets. Fantasy Executive on YouTube. Good show today. Good luck this weekend, everybody. Johnny V, let me tell you a story right quick. I had tickets to the NFC Championship game that same year when the Packers played the Falcons to close the Georgia Dome.
The Cowboys.
The only problem is I had tickets for the game that would have been at AT&T Stadium in Dallas, not the game that took place in Green Bay. But me and my girlfriend at the time, we did end up going to Dallas anyway, and we watched the Falcons run away from the Packers in the Georgia Dome's final game. So I was in Dallas, but there was no NFC Championship. Johnny,
you want to hear something funny about that weekend? So I had just started at NBC. So this is January of 2020, 2017. So I had just started at NBC. I wasn't even technically full time, so I was a contractor at the time. And this was when I was in ad sales. I was working in Rockefeller Center, and so I was only a few months in, and I didn't want to take any time off. I didn't want to ask for time off. They would have been fine with it, but that's not how I am. I just started. I'm not going to ask for time off. So I flew down. Nobody wanted to come with me either. I couldn't get anybody to come with. I was like, you know what? I'm doing this. I flew down on Sunday, left at 6 a.m., got there at 8:30, hung out in Atlanta all day, went to the game. Like, these guys I just like had a thing with on Instagram because they were Falcons fans. I told them I was coming to the game, and don't meet strangers online, right? But like, I ended up having a great time. Good dude introduced me to his friends. We had a good tailgate, bro. They blew them out, right?
They blew them out.
So, and that was my first time ever going to Atlanta. So I was like, all right, I got to get home. So I got to go to work the next day. And I'm sitting in the airport bar. I'm so hyped up because Atlanta clapped.
Going to the Super Bowl, yeah.
We're going to the Super Bowl. I've been waiting a long time for this. And like, we blew it against the 49ers in 2012. So I'm talking to this lady, kind of looks familiar. I'm so hyped. I'm like, oh my God, we're going to the Super Bowl. Have a drink. Come on, have a drink with me. She's like, why are you so excited? I was like, we're going to the Super Bowl. I don't know. Like, I've been waiting for this. So I was having a conversation with her, and then she's like, oh, like, that's your table over there? I was like, yeah, do you mind if I take a call? I was like, nah, go ahead. So like, these two guys in the corner waved me over, and I'm like, yeah, what's going on? Like, do you know who you're talking to? I was like, no, who? They're like, that's Kevin Durant's mother. I was like, no, wow, that's the real MVP.
That's the real MVP. That's Wanda Durant in the building, huh?
It was cool as hell, man. I was like, oh, it's like, it's nice to meet you and that. And it was great, dude. It was a great time. But real quick, I got to get your thoughts. I'm not on the Monday night show with you, but I need to hear your thoughts on this Rams-Bengals game with the Joe Burrow injury news.
Nothing. I'm waiting for the last minute for that one right there. To be 100% honest with you, I do not like the way the Bengals have looked this year. And a lot of times we have seen a situation where the Bengals have, like Joe Burrow, I think for his entire career, has bailed Zach Taylor out. Like, I don't think Zach Taylor's that good of a coach, even though he's been to the Super Bowl and been to back-to-back AFC Championship games. But here's the thing. You know, Johnny, I really play a favorite on Monday night. If I was to get involved with that game right there, I'd take the 2.5 with the Rams.
You know, it's so funny because the Rams were 3, and I was like, yo. And I gave out the Rams +3 and money line this afternoon. I was like, yo, I'm giving this out before it moves, because what's going to happen is Joe Burrow is most likely not going to play on Monday night. If the moment he gets announced out, Rams go from being 3-point dogs to 3.5-point favorites in Cincinnati. That's just the reality. Get the value, get the good number while you can. And that's what I did. But if Joe Burrow does end up playing, which, you know, apparently he got in a limited practice today and puts him on track. And even if he does, how much can we really expect from this guy?
I want to expect Joe Burrow to play. They need to sit Joe Burrow and let him rest. They really do. They cannot continue to throw Joe Burrow out there.
The problem is now you lose, and you go 0-3. Like,
I would rather battle back with Joe Burrow than to battle back without Joe Burrow.
I agree. That's fair.
So
I think the
it.
Rams are a good play. Sean McVay also owes me. Like, he really, you know what, me. Like,
yeah, he really did.
So, you know, he owes me this week. I'm willing to let bygones be bygones. If he makes it right with me, he needs to make it up to me for sure.
All right. Sean McVay, you heard it right here from JVTV. Get it right this weekend out there in Cincinnati. All right, everybody, best of luck this weekend. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you subscribe. Hit that like button. All of this information is good. Picks we gave you was free. The only thing we need you to do is support what's in the description section. Hit that subscribe button. And, you know, you see Johnny V's Twitter. Listen, just rock with us, because we're going to have fun all season long. We're going to get plenty of bread. Johnny V going to make picks, and he going to show his chest, and we just going to have a good time. You know what I'm saying? Yo, big bets, week number 3. Good luck, everybody. We out.